When it comes to beef, Alberta is recognized as a world-class producer, with nearly half of all Canadian beef produced right here in our province. Beef is jam-packed, full of zinc, iron, and of course protein, vital for muscle growth and energy. For this meaty installment, we head to the foothills northwest of Cochrane. It's here where we introduce you to Simpson Ranching, a family business with over 50 years in the cattle industry.
I'm John Simpson, and I'm a co-owner of the Simpson Ranch in the Grand Valley.
And I'm Christy Simpson, a co-owner and the ranch manager at the Simpson Ranch.
Simpson Ranch was acquired by my father in 1956 in the Grand Valley. We've accumulated, he passed away in 1984, and we've accumulated 5 different ranches together here. It's really the home and the heart of the Simpson family. And we've been very proud of all the things we've done in the Grand Valley and sustaining the operation and working within the wildlife of the operation, growing our cattle size to significant numbers. And it's sort of it's home to me, it's where I live, and it's one of the dearest parts of my life.
This valley still sort of makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up, especially on a morning like this. I've always grown up loving this valley, and the land couldn't be more precious to my family. And probably my number one priority is to maintain the land. We're standing on some pasture that we're trying to reclaim back to native grassland. So the land is the very most important thing to us.
Family is big in this whole business. My partner Jolene and I live here on the ranch. Christy has a house here. She lives in the city, but she comes back and forth and is here half the time. And my son Luke comes here half the time as well. So it's Christy and Luke are the co-owners with me on the ranch now, and they actually are the managers. They run the place. They refer to me as Old Hank, the guy who comes out and knows how we did things and why we do that. And as I drive up and down the valley and look around every day, I'm always asking questions about why are we doing this, or why are we not doing that, or why isn't that done, or what's going on here, or what's going on there. And I think that I'm very comfortable that the 3rd generation is going to run this into the 4th generation. And that was one of the things, somehow my dad got it in my mind that I needed to make sure that this ran as a family ranch, and this ranch will be here for a long, long time.
I have a ranch foreman who runs the ranch operations, as well as a farm foreman who runs our grain farming operations. My main job is to make sure that things are going according to plan. We have an operations manual that runs this ranch, and so the same thing basically happens every September 22nd or every October 22nd of every year. And that means that the same amount of feed is going to cattle, and that the same pastures are being used, and that water is being used in the same way. So my main job is to make sure that the plan is being followed. Luke's job is to run the farming operations. He runs the grain farm, where we put up all of our own feed, our own hay, our own barley and oats, and some cash crops. We grow canola and barley and wheat as well. There's a lot of responsibility to this kind of lifestyle. I think what it's given me is a very in-depth passion and understanding of the land. I think this is cattle country. We have a very short growing season, especially in this valley. There's not very many frost-free days a year, so the land is really best for cattle. We can't grow grain here, and something needs to eat the grass. So cattle country is the best way to describe it.
There's no doubt the Simpson family knows their beef. And over the years, the ranch has expanded to be able to run up to 1,000 of their prime Hereford cows.
We use horses to move our cattle, and we believe that. We've got 16 very nice quarter horses here for moving the cattle around, and we move the cattle frequently here because we have pasture lands that we need to maintain and manage. Most of the ranch is fenced off into quarter sections, so we move cattle from field to field, and they never come back to the same field again. So there's a cattle drive pretty much every week.
We'll go on horses. There'll be, I think, 3 or 4 of us. We'll just gather them up very quietly and very slowly. Sometimes we work with dogs, sometimes we don't, and we'll just herd the cattle in the direction we want them to go. It's a very calm thing. We don't want to get them riled up or round up. We just want to move them into the next field, and usually they understand what's going on, and they know that typically they're going somewhere where more grass is, so they're pretty happy to do it. I think a good ranch horse is the tool of the trade. We do a lot by horseback. When we have to treat an animal in the field, if it is sick and we have to give it some medicine, we'll use horses, and we will use ropes. We'll rope the cattle in to give them their treatment. Some people say that the only reason to have cows is so you can have horses, and I may be a believer in that. We love horses.
Work never stops on the ranch. Daily operations are guided by a manual describing daily, weekly, and monthly tasks for an entire year. The Simpsons pride themselves not only on their product and practices, but most importantly, their family name and history.
The Simpson brand is the circle hanging anchor, a circle with an anchor underneath it. I'm surprised I don't have one on my hat or my shirt.
The brand, the circle hanging anchor, is on a lot of clothing in my family. My dad and my brother both have tattoos of the brand. I do not.
Steeped in tradition, my father found it in the late 60s, maybe the early 70s, and it's a symbol brand. It's sort of unique. It's a one iron brand, so you put it on once. So it's a quick and effective way of doing it, and we still do brand all the females on the ranch. The Canadian Food and Agricultural Group came up with this radio frequency ID tag. And so any animal that moves from the ranch to the feed yards ultimately into slaughter has to have a radio frequency tag that can identify that animal to get it back to where it came from should something go wrong with that animal as it goes through production. We tag our animals in the left ear, and this radio frequency tag goes in the right ear, and it's a chip. It's about the size of a loonie. So it goes through, it pierces the ear and goes in, so you can actually have a wand, and you can walk up to it with the wand, and if you're within 10 feet, it can tell you who that animal is. If it gets lost, you have to register it as lost and put a new tag on the animal. We have a little bit simpler ID where we have a bigger tag on the left ear that says it's N22 or 551 or whatever it is, and it makes it easier for us to see them from far away, to see what's going on with them as we're managing them through the year. My words of wisdom about ranching, when I talk to friends who say they want to buy some cows and they get into operating a ranch, I say to them, never buy something that eats while you sleep.
Farming and ranching is an ongoing commitment, a strong commitment that is evident wherever you see Simpson Ranching.